awareness does not exist, unfortunately, with a
Yeah.
lot of people, especially from our generation. They don't understand, hey, there's something going on in geopolitics. That's fine. It doesn't affect me. And if they even are aware that is something going on in the world, and in their day to day, it's like, why are things expensive? That's why is gas price going up?
Welcome to the Texas Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview Texas real estate professionals from active real estate investors, lenders, property managers, and many others that provide goods and services into the real estate investing industry in the great state of Texas. Our goal is simple: to share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level, and to meet the pros that can help you get there. Texas Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and entrepreneurs build the business they need to live the life that they've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey, folks. Welcome back to the show. Today's guest, Ghiath Arodaki, is the founder of Stark Core, a program designed to teach kids and teens how investors actually think about risk, capital allocation, and decision-making. His work focuses on giving families a long-term edge by building financial judgment early through real-world frameworks rather than theory. You can find them at starkcore.org. Ghiath, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dylan, for the beautiful introduction. Glad to be here.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's great to have you on here. And I think not enough can be said about how much this is needed. I think one of the biggest, critiques that people have of education in general is like, well, where's the financial education, right? How did you get started in this space?
So, a little bit of background about myself. I'm an industrial systems engineering student at SJSU, graduated very recently, actually, while working in my experience. So building up my experience, the number one issue that I've noticed is that people make money, but they don't know what to do with it, right? Young professionals, they call themselves, we're broke. We can't get homes. We can't buy homes. And the issue is, everything is expensive. So try to dig deeper into it, because I'm becoming a young professional myself coming out of college, and I'm thinking I want to buy a home. I talked to a bunch of mentors that I had, and everybody mentioned you got to learn financial literacy. There's a difference between wealthy and there's a difference between being rich. And a lot of people are trying to aim for rich. So what I did is I wanted to, first of all, work on my own financial literacy. I started reading a bunch of books. And then in addition to that, I found a company, actually, it was a startup that was based out of the Bay Area that teaches investing in addition to STEM and also other courses and subjects. So I asked them if I can teach the investing curriculum. And I started building the client base, and I started working with a bunch of families and building that experience and getting that knowledge into some form of curriculum rather than just scattered knowledge here and there. And once, after a while, about a year and a half to 2 years, the company shut down, and some of my clients decided, okay, we want to continue with you. We built that trust, and it's the journey from there. Now I'm building my own client base on my own.
Now, when we talk specifically about, how folks can get started with financial education, with teaching their family, their kids about real estate, where do you see folks typically going wrong? What common errors do you see people making, whether it's through, an informal conversation or through, more formalized, like, hey, let me show you how to do taxes type of thing?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Well, people really don't know how to do taxes properly, in my opinion, because in my opinion, they don't outsource their taxes, right? Meaning you have to have an accountant who's an expert, right? You have to have somebody who's an expert in everything that you do in life. You can't just run off and do it on your own, because most likely, if you don't understand what you're doing, you're going to run into mistakes. And one of the other things is financial literacy, right? Um, everybody's dream right now is, let's get a home. Like I
Yeah.
said, people are living in apartments up to their 35, 40. And
Yeah.
if you go back in generations like Gen X or boomers and so on, they used to get their homes in their 20s. So what changed? The economy changed, inflation, we get that. But also, what are you doing to adapt to the change? Because this is an ongoing thing when it comes to inflation and economy changes. It's always changing, right? Especially if you live in a capitalistic society like the United States and the West. The economy always corrects itself. There's inflation and then goes back to correct itself and so on. It's dynamic, right? So the first thing is that I notice is that awareness does not exist, unfortunately, with a
Yeah.
lot of people, especially from our generation. They don't understand, hey, there's something going on in geopolitics. That's fine. It doesn't affect me. And if they even are aware that is something going on in the world, and in their day to day, it's like, why are things expensive? That's why is gas price going up? And why can't I afford my rent? And why am I living paycheck to paycheck? Well, because there's something going on in the world. You need to be aware of it and then anticipate, right? So,
Yeah.
for example, if you want to anticipate, what does that mean? Okay, so if something different is happening, I can put some of my money into certain stocks that I know will go up. So now I'm building my assets and they're growing, and then I can use those assets and sell them, or, use them as a collateral, as security backed credit line, in order for me to be able to buy a home or afford a real estate or a property.
Yeah, I mean, you raise a number of really good points there. One of the things that I think often gets overlooked is that people might be renting until much later than they were in previous times or previous generations, and this has a ripple effect, right? It's not just hey, we're not homeowners at this point, but they're also not able to ride the wave of appreciation the same way a homeowner can't, right? And so, I mean, if we just take a look at something that was in the news recently, right, like gold and silver pricing, right, over the last couple months has been skyrocketing, right,
Right.
and you could say, okay, well, it's good time to invest in gold and silver. You might say, on the flip side, if you compare that to like home ownership, right, it becomes clear, like, yeah, you want to get in because when's the best time to plant a tree? 5 years ago, when's the next best time to plant the tree right now? And I think that that's a lot of people's frustration is like, okay, well, if I don't get in right now, how am I going to get in? Because it's not like it's likely that it's going to go back down substantially and that we're going to be able to buy low. You're going to have to kind of jump in on the wave up and then continue to ride it along with everyone else who's already a homeowner.
Correct, correct. Yes. And like you mentioned, because prices might continue to increase. So you can't just say, I'm going to wait when the price drops.
Right.
And that could be years from now. So that means you're stuck in an apartment, you're not getting your property or assets really at the correct time, whether that being homes or even stocks or even gold or like you mentioned, or silver, right? Uh,
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
you should get on the ride because if again, it goes back to awareness and being educated. If you are aware and if you're educated enough to understand how things work, how uh, financial statements work, how does that
Yeah.
tie
Yeah.
to a company or even silver or geopolitics, and how does that affect gold prices and even cryptocurrencies and all of those things, then you'll understand, okay, if I jump in, it's still not too late. I'm riding the wave here. It's going to continue to increase. So, regardless, I'm going to be able to make my money and then be able to ride on that appreciation of my assets.
I would like to pivot a little bit here, and if we can, get a little bit granular as far as how some of this might be different depending on where you're at in the country. One thing that I have noticed, you're in Texas, I'm a Texas licensed realtor, is there is a very strong culture of being a mom and pop investor in
Right.
Texas specifically versus where I'm from originally in northern New Jersey, and this is no shade on that area. That is a highly less common occurrence. You don't see as many people, talking about having a rental properties in northern New Jersey. In many cases, because of cost to entry, it's just cost prohibitive. But also
Right.
too, because this idea and this culture surrounding being a real estate investor is just less prevalent for most
Right.
folks who are coming from that W-2, very much traditional background in the East
Right.
Coast specifically, I can say.
Yeah, I understand. I'm originally from the West Coast, from California in particular. It's a very similar mindset. Um, People tend to be much more corporate minded in those states just because it's large cities, global cities. Not that Dallas or Houston are not large or global cities, but New York and San Francisco and LA, you have the financial services industry in New York, for example. So anybody who's living in New Jersey, from my friends at least that I know, they commute
Yeah.
to New York and then that's where they work. Same thing here. We got LA, we got Hollywood, and then in the Bay Area, we also have the tech industry. And then the issue with these places, like you said, is the cost to entry. I mean, uh, even renting an apartment in the Bay Area, where I'm originally from, it's insane. I mean, I've had friends who just graduated or are in college, and they rent those apartments from the 80s, 70s. They need lots of work. It's not really in the best area, and they're paying 3,600, maybe 4,000 a month, right? So you
Yeah.
really can't live on your own. So exactly, you gotta have a roommate or something like that. And the road to r- uh, real estate ownership and then having rental properties and all of that, it gets more difficult. But again, it goes back to your education and how could you kind of work around that. And I highly suggest always having mentors. I have a mentor that is based in California. He's also a real estate agent, actually, who when I sat down with him, he said, "Do you see how the Bay Area is difficult to enter?" And I was like, yeah, I mean, I live in Dallas, Texas. People tend to have much more of independence here. And, they, like you said, mom and pops. So we have our own small business going on. We don't need to go work for corporate. Working for corporate is more of a plus. So that paycheck they get from corporate actually goes into investments or savings. And then they get
Right.
into a home or get or acquire like a real estate property. And then that real estate property appreciates and they buy another home and so on. Uh, he told me it's okay. It could happen here in California. It's just how do you strategize around it? How do you think about getting into that?
Is there any difference in approach? Because It's one thing to be able to say, hey, we're gonna shoot for having, rental properties in DFW, and we may
Mhm.
be able to do some acquisitions and maybe a value add rehab, acquisition point $150,000, and we may, flip these properties for 250, or we may hold these properties and turn them into rentals of some kind. That's one strategy. But when you're looking at, the south, uh the Bay Area, and then,
Mhm.
some of the areas in California, you're looking at price points of like $1.2 million, or like 800 plus $1,000. So it just changes the arithmetic entirely when you're
Yes.
educating young people entering the workforce about, real estate in that regard.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Does it make sense to be talking about, fix and flip and buy and hold rentals? Or would it make more sense to be talking about things such as like, hey, we should be partnering with people and forming, capital partnerships, or like investing out of the state? What's your feedback on that in general?
Absolutely. From the approach that I was taught, and also the approach I'd like to tell people, is first of all, you want to focus on your own stock options within the company you work for. I mean, if you're in the Bay Area, for example, you get stock options. I mean, I have people who work for companies like Nvidia and Tesla and so on,
Yeah.
and they get a cut from their paycheck that goes into their stock option at a 15% discount. That's great. I mean, when those companies are rising up, that means, you're making more money than the public. So if you keep accumulating that and don't touch it on the side, that will help you start investing, and that will help you start getting into real estate. That's number
Huge.
one. The second thing is networking, right? You gotta partner up in those places, and lots of people there. It's a very entrepreneurial ship driven culture, right? Everybody has a startup in the Bay Area. That's a well known fact. Everybody has a startup. Now, is it real startup? Does it make money and so on? Now, that's a different question, right? So, again, you gotta network a lot. You gotta partner up with people. And the Bay Area has opportunities, but the Bay Area culture does not encourage it because, again, we're much more tech heavy in the Bay Area. So what's going on there is people want to sit behind the computer and code for 8 hours, right? So get out there, try to get to network with people, businessmen, mentors, and so on. Like I said, my mentor, who's a real estate investor, he's in the Bay Area, and he's
Yeah.
able to get in the market with the current price ranges, and then he's educating other people to do that as well. So, there is a way, there's a way to get into it. The third thing, like you mentioned, is, and I did have that approach. I did see that approach. Um, I witnessed it where you're in the Bay Area in California, for example, or New York, and you're using some of your income to invest into other states like
Right.
Texas, Ohio, and so on. And although the appreciation would be much slower than in the Bay Area, for example, but it still accumulates. And I mean, that's the beauty of investing. Growth never stops and compounding never stops.
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about the ability to invest remotely, I think there's more and more interest in this. I think if you ask most people, certainly 10 years ago, but maybe even 5 years ago, hey, what's your tolerance for, underwriting deals in certain areas? They might say, oh, well, I don't have boots on the ground over there. But now with all the tools that we have, even as just, having this podcast like we're having right now, the ability to create a sphere, to get boots on the ground in an area, to create capital partnerships, to expand your
Right.
network, it's more possible that now than ever. So it wouldn't surprise me if we start to see even more out of state investing from some of these areas where you do have, very, very high, appreciation in properties, but also high incomes, right? So like the
Right.
coasts of the country. We are coming up on time here, though, Gaius. Um, any new projects that you're working on, and then as well, what's the best way for folks to reach out to you or to learn more about StartCore?
Absolutely. So I'm always working on new projects. I mean, I'm getting my real estate license here in Texas myself, right? So um, we're gonna heavily incorporate real estate education more and more in depth into StartCore. My main focus right now is StartCore. Like I said, I started with teaching kids 9 to 19. I'm getting a little bit older, younger sometimes, investing, stocks, real estate, economics. I have international students actually outside of the United States as well, and
Wow.
I'm teaching about macroeconomics and geopolitics and how does that affect. I mean, currently we live at a time, as we are right now talking, where energy prices are being driven up, and everything is getting affected because of geopolitical events. I teach the kids that. So that's kind of my focus. And in addition to that, we are trying to also get into homeschooling as well.
Mm,
And there's a rise in interest in homeschooling, huge rise. I mean, started in Arizona in 2011. And after COVID, like you mentioned, AI, ChatGPT, Zoom, all of those things made parents realize I don't have to send my kids to a public school. They can just get homeschooled and they can have that social interaction online, and there's much more control, and there's much more education they get than the typical school, where you get something like, okay, learning about stocks and investing in real estate, which you
yeah.
don't typically get in public education, right? So we're trying to expand in that area. The best way to get more information about StartCore is go to the website startcore.org. Go to the socials, StartCore HQ on Instagram, on TikTok. And then the best way to connect with me is by email, Ghiath@startcore.org, or by my phone number, which they can, I think, put it in the description or somewhere.
All right. All right. Gaia, thank you so much for joining us today. Thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast.
Thanks for joining us for today's show. If you're looking to take your business and your life to the next level, you really need to learn more about the Investor Fuel Mastermind. It's your shortcut to success. To learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other amazing entrepreneurs, 100% financing on your deals, member-only discounts, and so much more, please visit investorfuel.com/Texas. By the way, Investor Fuel is even Texas-based. Also, if you're interested in applying to be a guest on this very show, the Texas Real Estate Pro Show, please visit investorfuel.com/Texas. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app so you never miss another episode. We'll see you on the next show.